Nice. Sweet, 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 sweet. Oh, another magazine. Oh yes, Hickok 45 with a Sig P220 Elite. That's what I have. You Sig people, you know I had the 229. Now we've got the big brother, in a lot of ways, fires a 45 ACP. This is a pretty sweet old gun. I haven't shot one of these in a long time. I had one actually back in I don't know, around 1990, 1989, 1991, somewhere along in there, and let it get away. At the same time I let my my Sig 226 get away. Yeah, 5 magazines. That's what I have. This is a loaner gun from Academy of Self-Protection again. This guy's has some nice guns in their personal collections, and asked me if I wanted to shoot this thing. I said yes, I believe I do. I remember really liking the Sig P220. I'm gonna lay it down here. Let's take a look at it. It's this is the newer one, of course, than the one I used to have. This is the Elite. It has the rails, has a beaver tail. I don't believe mine had that. I don't think they put those on there back then. And front serrations is 45 caliber, of course. This one has nice sights, and it's ready. It's got a guard for the trigger, a trigger guard. That was a joke. They all have that. This is just a really sweet gun. What else do we have on this gun? Just like these, this model, you have the most of the Sigs. You have a decocker there. You've seen that in other videos, of course. With any Sig, almost, you got the decocker, and breaks down very easily. You just pull it back to there, lever down, there you go, guns apart. You know, it's like so many of these wonderful high-tech modern firearms, you know. Pretty nice gun. Look at that big bore. That's always ouch, it's rather warm. That's another attraction, isn't it, of any firearm. I can't help it, you know. I don't get into the caliber wars and the battles very much because they're all good, you know. It's not like you have an atomic weapon with any handgun, you know, so any common caliber handgun. But there is still something special about that big bore, isn't it? It's just it's an attraction. It makes this gun pretty attractive. Now, this gun is, of course, the double to single action. So let's just see how I can handle it. It's one of the very few negatives for me of these types of guns. Talk about it a lot. And just picking this gun up though, it feels better in terms of that first pull. I don't know, you know, when I just dry fire, you know, the Sig has a nice double single action, let's put it that way. I can see why some people get really hung up on Sigs, because they are quality guns. And even though it does have that double, the first long pull, and then you have a single action after that, it's about as good as it gets, you know, in terms of that. It doesn't get much better, there's no doubt about that. So if that's your gun, your carry gun, gun you rely on, you shoot it, you're not switching around among 14 other firearms, Glocks one day, and a SR9C the next, and a Sig the next. You're sticking with that and getting used to it. You're probably pretty effective with it and pretty proficient. Okay, so let's load. Why am I talking without reloading? Okay, so Sig, I don't think you've heard me say too many negative things about a Sig. You really can't. They're high quality firearms, and anybody that just trashes a Sig, you know, I'm not sure they have a whole lot of credibility. About the only thing, as I said, is the trigger is different than what I prefer. Some people prefer that. They like that double action first pull, and then they just go with that. But that's my only negative. I've been spoiled by that same trigger pull on a Glock. First pull, second pull, third pull, it's all the same. I guess that Uplula loader would work with a, I don't think I've used it much with single stack magazines. I don't know if that's, I'll have to try it. Generally a single stack, 1911 mag, or these, they're just really simple to reload. That Uplula loader though, actually it makes you faster with anything in your load. That's one reason I've gone to using it. I don't have any trouble loading magazines. It doesn't hurt my thumb as it does some people. It's just, it is actually faster. It's more efficient. So that's the reason you see me using it in videos. So, but back to Sig, they're definitely quality firearms. They don't have anything over other firearms, some other firearms, in terms of reliability or quality. I don't think they just cost more in a lot of ways, but they're definitely really fine guns. I recall the ones I've owned, they just don't malfunction. The ones I've borrowed, they just don't malfunction. Well, I don't know if I've borrowed one other than this one. I've owned the 229, 226, and 220, and they just don't know how to malfunction. They're really fine weapons, fine firearms. Now, the fellow down at ASP has Hogue grips on this. Of course, they're for this gun, so that might look a little different than. I don't think those come on it. They might. Maybe they come on the Elite. I didn't ask him, but good feeling gun. I'll tell you that beaver tail. Unless it's my imagination, John and I were talking about this before the videos. It seems that this one, the slide is down lower, your hand's up closer to the bore axis. I don't know, that 229, of course it's an older one or a different model. It felt like you're grasping it down here lower, you know. It's always good to have your hand up as high as you can on a gun. Maybe it's the beaver tail that makes it seem that way, not sure. So pretty nice little gun. Now, let's try here on a couple other things and see how it does. Decocker, see that gun's hot. And for you, those of you who are new to firearms, I know that probably seems kind of odd, but that's engineered in. You push that down, click, and it lowers the hammer safely. Doesn't matter that there's a round under that hammer now. It's safe, it's double action, so it's not going to fire easily, even if you had your finger, not that you'd have it on the trigger if you're not firing, but it's double action mode. There's a round under the hammer, let me cock it again. So you push that lever down, it decocks it. Okay, so it's ready to go. But now this is just an old Glock holster for a Glock 21 or something. So, and oh, the guy sent me these mag pouches. I told him I'd probably end up using them sometime in a video because I don't have a lot of 1911 mag pouches. Let me see. I'm really bad about things people send me. This is Century Leather. Century Leather. He makes them in Kydex, and it seems like a really nicely made holster, and then he makes them in leather both. So Century Leather. Just a little shameless plug there. Guys, nice fellow, just sent them to me, and they've been in the reloading room for months, you know. And again, I have stuff like that. I apologize. Anything anybody has sent me, as I say, I don't know if it'll show up or not in the video. It might not. So don't send me anything if you're going to be sensitive about not ever seeing it. Okay, what do we want to shoot? Let's just reach on out. Single action. Now I took about 8 shots before we started, and I noticed that this one doesn't like a 6 o'clock hold. You need to hold up on the target. So let me try to remember that. I'm just going to go over there. Well, let's go to the gong. What the heck? So I need to hold up on it a little bit and squeeze the trigger. Well, it has a nice trigger break, I'll say that. Has a 10-round magazine with it there. It's nice that he has about 5 magazines. Okay. Getting a little bit low, I think, on most of those misses. Let's bring it up and squeeze the trigger. Okay. Bring it up and squeeze the trigger. There we go. All right. Got to focus, no matter. Can't get overconfident. All right, now I'm going to try that pig. And I think if I hold on the top of his back, we might hit him. I love a 6 o'clock hold, which means holding on the bottom of the target you're trying to hit for you new shooters. But you can't always do that. You got to hold up on them with some gun. Not going to fall. Let's move on down to some turkey action here. Yeah, I love it. I love it. These big old 45 slugs are fun to sling. Yep, it's easy to get too low. All right, it goes where it's pointed, no doubt about it. If I hold on top of the target, it hits it. So, and of course these guns aren't meant for 50, 60, 70, 80 yards. But for me they are. That's what I do with them. That's what I use them for. We'll up and go another round here. You know, I mean, what the heck? Ammo's cheap, right? I wish we just picked up $100 worth of ammo here today to run through this thing. Yeah, no ammo sponsor on this video except some guy named Hickok 45. And this is UMC, by the way, 230 grain ammo, hardball ammo, 30 grain metal jacketed, full metal jacketed, the classic round. For those of you just learning about firearms, you probably already know that, but this was the round, the 1911's designed round, 30 grain, full metal jacket. Sometimes we get in a little trouble when we try to put some exotic rounds in a 1911, or maybe any gun, maybe even a Sig. I haven't tried hollow points with it, but sometimes they don't feed hollow points as well as they do good old hardball ammo, 230 grain. So these magazines really feel like quality. Speaking of Sig, they really do. The springs feel pretty stiff, and that rascal just feels like a quality piece of metal, no doubt about it. And then I've got a 10 rounder here. It sticks out the bottom, of course. So it's really nice having 5 magazines with this thing. I certainly wasn't going to go out and buy some Sig magazines just to do this video. I'm sure they're not cheap. I'm sure those things are probably as expensive as a Wilson, at least, combat magazine. So, 220, nice gun, 45 ACP. Okay, let's try him a little bit more here. Put our mags away. If you don't mind a double single action, SIGs are great. And also, I forget sometimes too, I judge almost any pistol like this as something that you might use for defense, whether it's veteran gun or whatever it is, or a carry gun. So I'm always looking at it through that prism. That's my frame of reference, even if you do use it mostly at the range. Then a lot of people, they just use these guns at the range. They're just range guns. And I've gotten comments to that effect. I know messages about, why are you so worried about the double single action trigger pull, Hickok? What's the big deal? Just shoot in single action. That's all I do, you know. And you know, that's fine. Just like a single action Colt 45, you know, Peacemaker or something. You cock it and shoot it every time. You go out and have lots of fun with it at the range, whether it's a Beretta or a Sig. And that double to single never really enters your equation, perhaps. So that's something that I tend to forget sometimes. Let's decock it. Okay. All right, we got a couple of wayward pigs over there we got to try. Alright, so we're hot. No, we're not. One thing I didn't mention is that the extractor protrudes when there's a round in the chamber, so you essentially have a loaded chamber indicator there. It's kind of like a Glock. You can tell by feeling or looking at the extractor. Alright, let me see if I can get the right hold now on that little piggy. Right on the top of his back, as if there's a fly there, I am trying to pick off. Oh, I think I hit him, just didn't want to go. That time it went. There we go. Just have to adjust for it. Yeah, I'm going to try that ram another shot or two. Maybe if I hit him high enough. Well, under the belly's not high enough, no doubt about that. I know my anatomy. Under the belly is not high. Okay, here we go. Couple more. All right. He moved out of my sight plane just as I pulled the trigger. All right. Let's see on these plates where I would hold. Might be useful information just to know, because we're talking about more realistic ranges here at 18 yards. Yep. That's right. Yeah, I was holding near the top of those plates, so yeah, it was a little bit lower there. Okay. All right. All right, we got 3 more mags. Let's go down range here and play a little bit. Decock. All right, Sig P220. Let's say this is what I'm depending on. I have to hit with it. Double to single action. I'm not allowed to complain about it. I have to rely on it, let's say. And let's just have some bad guys show up here. Let's decock it. Try it again. You got some ugly terrorists showing up. Okay. That was double to single. Like I say, I complain about it, but if you have to, you can miss twice. Well, I guess I hit once there. I don't know. Let's try again. A little double to single now. Decocker. Double to single. Well, that's a really nice single action trigger, I'll have to say. Man, I'll tell you, I feel like I could line up the chickens way over there, and if I was feeling really steady, just pick them apart. Go back to Mr. Gong, play with that trigger again. It has a very nice break. Yeah, very nice break. There's a quality gun, there's no doubt about it. Shoots a big bullet too, 45 ACP. Something special about that round. I mean, to all of us, I think. Even if you carry a 9, you just can't help but have that romantic feeling about the 45 ACP. Now, you know what I mean by that. Don't get crazy. But there's a certain romance associated with that round and that big bore. So, decock. P220 Sig, high quality gun. It's a fine one, you know, it really is. I don't think I could beat my Glocks with it in a shooting match if I was shooting against myself, but it would do just fine. It feels good, and it is very, very sweet. Life is indeed good.